Are public employee pay and benefits too high in Michigan? And if so, what should be done about it?
But what are some things that we're spending too much money on, or spending, or shouldn't be doing, or should be doing cheaper and more efficiently?
Well, there's a whole list, but a couple things that are high on the list that we need to look at is one is, and it's a very tough issue, is the issue of public employee compensation.
Sure.
And I always couch that in that term because we're talking about people and their families.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to do it in a constructive fashion and realize we're asking people to make sacrifices, and we need to all share in those sacrifices in some way. But if you look at it, there are two questions that have to be asked. One is what's comparable with the private sector, and then secondly, what's financially affordable. And I don't believe you can check either of those boxes today. I mean, you have great reports.
We're asking everybody to respond to Governor Snyder's call to take a real close, hard look at public sector pay and benefits versus private sector pay and benefits. He says they're not in line with each other. At what levels do you see this as being a problem, and do you see this as being a hard and fast priority for the new legislature?
I think you always have to look at something like that when you're dealing with a budget deficit like we're looking at, and it's the responsible thing to do as a public servant. So I believe in the outcomes-based approach, and what you want your outcomes to be has to be determined, and then how you get there may be the tricky part, but truly it's something we have to examine.
What are we purchasing? I think across the country, what you purchase with pay is the equivalent amount of work, whether it's your legacy costs, your health care, your pensions, or your hourly wage. It should be in line whether you're in the private sector or the public sector. Now, in our state of Michigan, our benefit package appears to be out of kilter with the private sector.
When you say something's unsustainable, it means you're going to go broke in the future. When it's unaffordable, you're broke today. And we're broke today. We're broke today in our local governments. We're broke today in Lansing. We love our public sector workers, our police, our fire, our state workers, but we can't afford to pay them. And we're hiring people today and making promises that cannot be kept. So unfortunately, public sector can't be a way to get rich or have free everything for all your life just because the people can't afford it. And that's got to be addressed.
We have no idea where the money's coming from. In my opinion, when the governor gave all the state unionized employees a 3% pay raise in the middle of a recession, it was absolute economic insanity. I took a 10% pay cut, and I voted for that, and I also were paying more for our prescriptions. I'd love to see a 5% pay and benefit cut for all state employees.
I think the clear message from the last election, what people are looking for is they're saying we want our public employees to be well compensated, reasonably compensated, but that they should be more in line with their counterparts in the private sector. I certainly support that, and I think the governor clearly does as well.
We're going to have to do something about the budget. It's out of control. One of the clear places we can make some big gains is through public employee benefits, even more than pay, although pay has to be addressed as well. But the salaries are bad, but the benefits are something that are just so out of line with what the average taxpayer in Michigan sees. I can't see that being justifiable, and I can't see the taxpayers accepting it.
I think it's a huge problem. Unfortunately, that problem is going to be manifest in the people that weren't responsible for creating the problem, but they're all going to have to withstand the changes. We've got about $2,500 to $3,000 that we're targeting per state employee. That is out of sync with the private sector. I don't want anybody to assume that we're demonizing anybody. That's not the case. We've allowed ourselves to get out of control, and you got to get back into control. It's just like going on a diet. It's not fun, and sometimes it's painful, but it's for the long-term good.
I think getting the budget in place, I think bringing it in line with the private sector is one of those key factors that's going to make a difference.
Well, I think Governor Snyder is doing what he should do, which is to benchmark not only our public and private sector pay versus the issues that we face in our departments of state. I'm going to be the new chair of corrections in the Appropriations Committee. And that's one of the very significant areas that we can find significant savings if we benchmark ourselves against other states.
We've got a huge budget deficit situation that we've got to address. And there's simply no way to balance it if we don't tackle the pay and the benefits of our state employees. We need to make sure that our state employees' pay is in line with the private sector.
I think that it's out of line all over, starting from local units of government right on up to the top, and everything should be looked at and brought in line with the private sector, the health care component, benefits, retirement, just everything. I ran our own family business for 30 some odd years, and I can tell you that my employees don't get the kind of health care packages or retirement packages that's currently offered by the state.
We've got a pension and health care program in Michigan that's put us $40 billion in a hole already. We can't make promises today that my grandkids can't keep 20, 40 years from now. This is vital for us. And when I'm talking to public employees, corrections officers, and teachers, as long as we do this very fairly, and what I'd like to do is start at the top. I think we're very top-heavy as a state, work our way down, and in the meantime, for brand new employees, we're going to have a very, in my opinion, a very strict two-tier pay system that we've seen the private sector go into, and so that we try to hold current employees as harmless as possible, but I'm not sure that's going to be completely possible.